My enjoyment for this film was heightened because I am also a stage actor.
Yep.
And being the theatrical aspect to this film really resonated with me.
500 plus performances of this. Yeah. Can you imagine doing this?
There's
500 times.
I'll just say this right off the bat. Like, I think it's because we had a really wonderful party at John's yesterday, and I was a little tired, a little bit hungover, not too bad, but I get more emotional. Like, I cried.
Not you, Jared.
This entire movie. I'm not talking about like I cried at the end. I was crying the whole fucking time. Like, after I'd say the first third, I was just in tears the entire rest of the time.
I cried a lot too.
This
and
right
also,
here.
How the fuck does this guy do any of this? How the fuck do this?
Well, the thing is, okay, here's a question for you. This is again, I'm gonna drag this film a little bit. It's basically a sad magic show.
Yes.
But the thing is, when you're trying to portray
all magic shows,
when you're trying to, well, no, not necessarily.
But it's also part of it.
There are happy magic shows. There are kiddie magic shows.
It's also sort of
this is a sad
one-man play.
Yes, now this is a one-man show.
The point I'm trying to make here is that if you're going to film a magic act, it's how do you convey authenticity? And I think that Frank Oz did a really good job of that.
We're having yesterday.
The stuff I thought was really impressed by was watching the most of the card stuff.
I want to point out.
You know that Oz also directed the live shows.
Yeah.
I want to point out a thing. I want to point out a thing that he says very early in this. Mm-hmm. It's easy to see what this looks like. It's easy to lie on stage. Hell, it's even easier to lie on film.
On film, yeah.
That's the thing.
And also,
like he's telling you up front that he's lying to you.
Yeah, he is. And the thing is, that's how I took it at face. I didn't take it at face value.
And he's also,
the whole thing might be a gigantic lie. This whole
he's giving a performance too, and a damn fine one. I mean, this guy is actually a really good actor as well. I mean, obviously,
and a good stand-up comic,
and obviously an amazing magician.
He's a good illusionist too.
Mm-hmm. But I actually took the first. I actually did shut off my phone and put it down and didn't, and I watched it in one sitting, just like. I really appreciated that title card. I really appreciated it.
Kind of bullying.
I wish I'd seen this. I wish I'd seen this in person. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
I get that it's easier to lie on camera. Like I wondered often as we were doing like his handwork, like how is this playing to the audience in the back row? Do they have screens? Whatever. Ultimately, it's almost like it didn't matter because
it was a small theater.
The back row isn't that far back.
Yeah, I know, that's like a 70-seater.
The magic shit was like, it's fine, it's entertaining. But what this guy does, and why I think this movie worked for me anyway, and it's really the last like 20 minutes, is it's about people feeling like they're being seen.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's almost like the whole thing is really just like, however he gets there, whether it's sleight of hand, bullshit, whether some of the people in the audience are plants. It doesn't the emotions that you see on the faces of a lot of those people in that audience are fucking genuine.
I will tell you, that no one in the audience is a plant.
I think half the people in the audience are a plant.
No,
I agree with Tad.
No, they're not. No. I'm telling you that because I have heard people who've been in the audience for this and Derek himself say no one in the audience is a plant. That's not what this show is. He does not stunt that way.
Like, so we're all. I mean, the elephant in the room is
the elephant,
so to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. I mean, one, the letters, and then
I don't know how the fuck he did that.
And then two, the ending, the big, how he knew who wrote what or who chose what. I mean,
he doesn't. So that's the biggest trick.
The letter's a plant, man. Come on. I'm not here to try to figure out his magic, but there's one easy way to do it.
I don't need to see behind the curtain.
But I'm also saying it doesn't matter.
You have to say, how does
I'm saying it doesn't matter. Go with it.
But the letters.
If it's a letter is picked out of the audience and it's already written for them and they're reacting in a way that is, New York is full of actors. You can find people to do this stuff.
Yeah, but
I'm saying it doesn't matter because the emotional content of this movie is what matters.
It does matter, Scott. It does matter, and I think you're wrong about that.
Okay. Why? Okay,
That's-
why is it intrinsically different to you knowing that they were complete strangers or getting like, wow, Shocko, I'm getting this letter from that I didn't know about versus
I know
you
I
thinking
know-
this is what is going to happen. It didn't happen at all. It's an illusionist movie.
If
It's a movie
he
about a
can-
guy who does
he can-
magic tricks.
Listen, if he can memorize where every card in a deck is, shuffle them apparently at random, and then put them all in order the way he did, he can also memorize. He's one of those guys. He can memorize what every single person who came in that night,
That's as likely as anything else to me.
He can also go into the sales, the ticket sales for every performance, pick somebody out, find a relative, and get them to write a letter.
which is what he does.
Which is what he does. So it's a trick.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't magic. It's a trick.
Right, but there's a
Okay, he
difference
knows
between
which
a
one he's going
trick
to pick.
It's
and a
not magic.
plant.
It's,
It's not
illusion.
random. He knows who they are. He
But
picks them
that's
out.
not
Everyone in the
But that's
theater
a
thinks it's
mentalist
random. It
thing.
isn't.
I mean, it goes back to
Scott.
Lewin.
That's not the same thing as a plant.
Right. The
Plants
person's
are
real.
different.
The person's real. The letter is real.
Actually, you know what? The
Yeah,
person
the
with the letter.
response is real.
No,
The response-
I'm using the wrong terminology. The
The
person,
reaction is
the
real.
person they're picking is a pigeon.
Yes,
the reaction
Yeah,
is
that's
They're a
what
mark.
different. I use the wrong terminology.
They're a
They're
mark.
they're a mark,
They're a
Yeah.
mark.
They're a
Yeah.
mark.
Mhm.
Or a
which is
yeah, they're
which
not a
is
shell.
way
They're
more
not-
interesting than a plant.
You know, it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. You know, the thing is that the thing behind Chris, the everyone having the profession thing, and him picking him out, I thought was the most impressive trick he did because that must have been very hard.
No,
But
it's not. That's
But
the easiest
basically
one.
it's a guess your a guess your card trick, but it's done with half the audience. Okay, you tell me.
3/4 of the people sit down before he starts pointing at any individual person.
Right, that's true. So he went it down to about 1/3 of the audience.
right.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes about individuals.
Right.
And
Well-
most of that you can read on someone's face.
Right, and he also knows who the people are that he's picked earlier in the act,
Right.
and he knows the order of the whatever.
You
they
can
are.
see the woman who's taking the cards is ordering them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Weirdly enough, even though
She's tearing them in half and she's putting them in the pile. She's ordering them.
Right,
She's
she is.
also a magician.
There it is.
Right.
Well, how the
No,
mechanics
I'm
of it
actually not here to
aside,
figure out the tricks. I'm
Right.
actually the thing that most impressed me about this film was the tone. Now, John, you've been in the
And that's what
Museum of
reminded me of
Jurassic
being in the
Technology
theater.
in Venice, right? I took you there.
It is it
has that
this
feeling. It
is
has a
one
s-
of the best one-man shows
No.
I've ever
The
seen.
backdrop,
It's great.
the
Can I just say,
music,
Kat,
the
it's
mood, the
great.
lighting was very spooky and very evocative.
yeah,
I
I
get
get
the-
the,
the
I get
tone
the
he hit was
connection you're
perfect.
drawing.
Well, and the 6 diorama thingies are cute.
That was just
too.
amazing.
I
That was just-
typically don't care for one person shows because theater is all about
Mhm.
having a dialogue between characters on
Interaction.
stage,
Sure.
an interaction.
Well, this is a dialogue.
But this is
between
yeah,
him
this is,
and the audience.
right, this is a dialogue with him and the audience, and
Right.
I think this is a beautiful one-man show, and it is
Every
wish I
time
could
he
in
looks
person.
off stage at the sunrise,
Yeah.
and has another thing to say about that is
Yeah.
so interesting.
Mhm.
Like, and when he says, if you turn your back on the sun, everything's illuminated.
Mhm.
Like that's
Plato's
the
theory.
message. That's the message of the show.
Mhm.
If you
I
turn
can-
your back on the sun, everything's illuminated. Like
only
you
critique
have
I
to
could-
look behind you sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only critique I have for this at all is because I was really affected by this, and I think it's wonderful. I think maybe it feels with the different stories, it's maybe a little, I don't know what's the word, not unfocused, but it doesn't seem to have like a concrete, I don't know. He seems a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit,
Mhm.
but that's a very, very small criticism because he's still driving for, what the questions that he's asking, which are, how we feel about our personal identities, how other people see us.
Right.
So and I think in that it's mostly a success, of course. I mean, it's a huge success in so many ways.
Yeah.
But I
It's funny
really,
that-
really,
His
I
stories
agree
by
with
himself
Chris.
are they're kind of shaggy dog stories. They're a little bit, they're
yeah.
kind of, they are. But the thing is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that they
No,
kinda go
I
in
love the
different
tone. I
areas of
agree
his
with,
life,
yeah.
I mean, even the section which was about his mother and his mother's relationships and stuff came back to how people were perceiving her, and then also by extension him. So it did stand thematically.
Did you buy that?
I agree with Scott.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Something actually happened.
I believe it's his personal story.
Yeah, because his mom.
I'm on the fence about that.
His mom is in the audience. He remembers
it. I think that may or may not have happened.
I learned all those words meant the same thing.
What?
Mom. Right. That was amazing.
His mom is in.
His mom was there. Yeah, but
yeah, that was great.
And she totally, you could tell. I mean, not trying to offend anyone, but you could just tell by her haircut and her. It's all true. Dude.
And the videos they show.
She's a lesbian. Okay.
And Sheila picked her out right before, as he was going through the crowd, identifying people by their card, and before he said it, it's like Sheila said, "That's his mom."
Okay.
And he says, "Hi, Mom."
Okay. Yeah. Is it just me, or did anyone see Bill Gates in the audience?
Yeah,
Bill Gates
looked like him.
And Larry Wilmore.
Yeah, Larry
really?
Wilmore.
And what's the other magician? He says is his brother.
David Blaine.
Blaine, yeah.
Blaine.
Oh shit, that's great.
Yeah. There's another guy. He was fuck, I can't remember his name. But yeah, there's another famous New York like magic / activist guy who's in the audience too. Like this is one of those things where, again, it ran for a long time, and so many people went and saw this.
I really wish I could see this live.
And there are people I follow on Twitter who are magicians and stand-up comics, and they were the ones that I found out about this from, because when it was announced that it was going to be a movie, they were like, watch this absolutely as soon as it comes out, watch this. And one of them said, if I had the money, I would have gone to every single show. Every single show.
Yeah, because
Chad, you've been trying to get us to watch it for what?
This has been on my short list
since March.
He's got that wonderful. He's got that wonderful bit about the book and letting the audiences, finish.
That was wonderful, and that wasn't magic. That was just
that
was a great idea, and that really
was a great idea.
That really talked to me in terms of like, that's how life is. It's just a series of little stories that go on, and you're not there for all of them.
True or filled in.
That's beautifully done.
Yeah. What's he say? That's wonderful. He's like, this is going to be full of things that really happened and some things that are imagined. And that is our identity.
Pretty much it. That's it.
That's our identity, right?
Mr. Tomorrow and Mr. Tomorrow and Mr. Yesterday, and that's kind of.
I mean, in a way, it's like if you've ever watched any of Penn and
Teller.
It's got that same feel to it as
It does and it doesn't. I think he's coming through.
I think he's
a lot less cynical than their shit is.
He's not a libertarian.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna give this movie.
Penn and Teller's a lot about showing you the mechanics of how magic works and why you're fooled and things like that, which is great. And it's them digging into what they love. This guy has
this whole thing about bullshit.
They also both love. Yes. They also both love this.
Yeah,
both of them.
I'm sure they did. Yeah.
It's interesting because to see how different performers work magic into something that's not a typical magic show. There's Penn and Teller. There's this. I saw a live show in San Francisco years ago called Lights Out, which basically took magic and turned it into a series of almost pantomime skits. I don't think there was any dialogue in it. It was just a series of wordless, like one-act plays that were incorporated magic, and it was magical.
I typically hate magicians and watching
because of all this. So do Penn and Teller for all those reasons of being hokey or being dishonest.
It's all those guys that like. Isn't there like a Chris Angel guy or something? It's like
the mind fuck guy.
No one likes Chris Angel.
No one likes Chris Angel. You're right. He's in Vegas now. He sucks.
It's sort of like. Who are the other guys with the red nose?
There was like a guy that came to. There's a guy that came to.
Just love to hate clowns.
Well, I want to do a whole episode about clowns sometime because I talk.
No, we will not.
Okay,
yes, there was a professional that came to the Luther Burbank Center, professional magician, and I took my son because he's a kid, and he loved it, and I was just having fun with him, but I was just still like, I fucking hate this shit, and this movie, this guy's style. I mean, that's what we're talking about now. This is a performer. This is a performer who took magic and made it his style, and I fucking dug it.
Yeah,
Well,
seriously.
you know,
No,
a
that's
lot
the
of
thing.
magic.
Yeah, the
it's
magic
it's
is
like being a con
25%.
man, right?
What was
Yeah,
that,
Yeah.
Chris?
It's
Chris?
like
Sorry,
being
Joe,
a
go ahead.
con man.
but it's
A
still
lot of it is
integral.
like the narrative that you deliver.
Sorry,
to
I want to know what
people.
Chris just said.
No, I say we keep talking about, like, for me, like, I'm like, am I the only one that felt like the magic was like maybe 25% of his act?
Yes.
It was his gimmick, basically.
Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
a
Like
No,
what
I'm with
he
you,
brought
Chris.
to
It
the
was like
table for me transcended the 25%, which was the magic tricks, even though the magic tricks enabled some pretty amazing shit, particularly in the last act.
It enables him to tell the story that he wants to tell.
The way he interacts with the audience, his just
Well,
his general
he
personality.
weaves it all. He weaves it all together so well. Like
At
at the
the
end,
end.
when everything
Better
falls
than
off
the magic.
no,
The magic is great, but I feel like he added a lot more.
The emotional impact of it.
This is the point
Yeah.
I was making. The fact that maybe his stories may or may not be true. It doesn't matter because you're so transported by the way he set up this thing. This with behind Chris with the boards and there's little blackouts. And I remember the mood reminds me of a real good museums or like maybe a James Turrell space where
Yeah.
you're sort of like transported. And
There was also an
he
ASMR
does
kind of
so much
quality
with
to it.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly. But he does so much with such a small amount of thing, and the stagecraft was just amazing. And the magic tricks made it otherworldly as well. But I was just really pleased by it. We lost John.
Show me what empathy looks like, and they'd show that guy.
Yeah, I think that Derek Delgadio has actually got things he can do beyond this show.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just getting started.
Oh, we lost John.
He's by the way one of the magic consultants from the Prestige.
Oh,
shit,
dude,
really?
wow.
Yeah,
That film.
Yeah. he's the 2011 2012 close-up magic magician of the year and the 2016 magician of the year from the American Academy of Magicians.
Dang.
So
well, he would be, like I said, but this is more than that. This is a magic act. This isn't.
This is this is one of those things where it's like the reason I picked this is because this steps so much further beyond magic.
Yeah.
Like I love magic, and that's a whole other side of me from all of this. But like this is one of those things where I've watched this I think 8 or 9 times since March when it came out. Because
this is the kind of thing like I want to show this to other people that I love in my life.
That's like me and dodgeball.
Every time I watch this, I see something new and something I'm more interested in. Like, and I just literally like I started writing down quotes from this while I was watching it this time because a bunch of this just lives in my brain. 1617 King of Spades is such a good moment. And then immediately after that, he goes, they're not in order, which I would have done for you folks, but I had a fucking tie on my face.
that was good. And then he did it.
And then he starts flipping over the other cards and they're all in fucking order.
I know.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Well, the guy that's like we talk about just doing practices, doing shuffles. He must have been working with cards for years. Literally.
Oh yeah, all the stories are true.
Well, he says that.
Yeah,
he says that.
He started when he was like,
I was mind blowing. It really was.
He's been doing it since he was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
Eventually, he agreed to add a 6th and final bullet. Yeah, nobody bet. Instead, they bought a ticket to watch.
Yeah.
Watch a man stand on the stage and place a loaded gun to his head.
Yeah, I love that story. The first story was my favorite.
Like,
There's nothing magical about that story. It's just a good story.
What was the name? The rouletier? The
rouletista.
Yeah,
the rouletista.
The roulette guy.
Yeah, like he's so good at bringing you to a place, like an emotional place, a physical place, whatever. And then at the end, when they're showing the clips of the people finding the bricks.
Yeah.
And it's like, he didn't just bring you to a place, he found you in a place somewhere else and brought you back to where he was.
Yeah.
Like those people are freaking out because they're suddenly back in that theater as soon as they see that brick.
Right.
And like, that is something that you can do in fiction, that you can do in stagecraft, in movies, that you almost can't do in real life. like it's so hard to make someone come back to a place almost physically when they're not there
This
unless you tell them a good story.
this show is it's a magical experience, both figuratively and literally.
There's few things I've watched that depend so much on the audience response. And I mean, not just that he pulls them up on stage, but that just constantly we're cutting to the faces of the audience. And there's that, typical of a magic show, you get people being impressed by the magic, but you get so much more in this. And that's why I think
How many times in a magic show do you cut to the audience and they're crying?
Yeah.
My God. It's
Only
so
when they
emotional.
realize they wasted their money.
Right. Not in this though.
Well, Chris, you're right. The whole thing is about people being seen and appreciated for what they are, for the fullness of what they are.
Mhm.
It's really moving.
I read some quote where he's like talking about the very concept of like the whole I am thing. And basically, what he says is this: you flatten everybody down to
A card.
a word.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He says the toughest thing was that there would be people that would choose failure, and he knew that he was at some point going to have to get up and call them a failure in front of the whole audience.
Right.
Right.
Well, because at the end there is one guy who says you're nobody.
I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Someone shows that.
Nobody.
Yeah, but
Well, he
like,
did the card says who
for him,
the
the
middle
point
part says
is,
the card says who says
we
there's
are
an idiot or
not,
something
we
like
are
that, and then
not,
get up.
we are not just one thing.
Yeah.
Right.
We
So,
transcend that thing. We transcend those
Right.
labels.
He removes that pyramid at the end. Like he literally just tears that whole idea of you being whatever your card says down at the end.
Mhm.
And you see it in the audience. You see them go, oh, right, I'm not whatever this card was that I picked.
But simultaneously, I think it's like they're looking at him and they're saying, you actually see me.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the part
Right,
that
because
like.
I see the thing that you put on this card, but I also see you as more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it sets them free and you see it.
Mhm. It
Yeah,
does.
some of them
Yeah,
just
that's a
sit
good
down,
way
but
to
some
put
of
it.
them look at like some
Sets
of them.
them free.
I
Some
don't
of
know where
them
you're
not
getting this,
sit
but
down,
okay.
but the looks he gets from some of the other ones are like, forget about it. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to question for Jared though. You're the actor here. Now the thing is, his performance. He does some ticks. He does some verbal tricks. Did you see them? Because he has a couple go-tos. I thought.
Yeah,
There's a audio.
Well, as I said at the top, this is and Tad and I talked a little bit. This is a performance,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
a
also
performance.
it's an acting. He's acting.
Yeah.
He's made up a character which is himself, but
Right.
for this show.
Absolutely.
But
You
yeah,
can
but
see-
I
you
think
can see
that
it. You can see him tripping lines and like
yeah,
stopping.
all
and
of,
hesitating.
okay. I'm of the opinion that every
Mhm.
single even or is probably timed perfectly.
Yes,
because this
I got
guy
that feeling. Yeah.
this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
But it may be the kind of thing that where he's done it, 500 times, so he can actually play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the best actors do is, like when I'm in a run and it's like a 4-week run, typically I don't feel like we're ready to open until weekend 3 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about and it's
You're burning off
about
all the
that
bad at
time.
that point, right?
Well, it's about that time where I start playing a little bit.
It's tech rehearsal until week 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And week 3 is when I'm like, oh, I've got this backwards and forwards, and I am so comfortable that I am going to play with this a little tiny bit, not enough to like freak out my scene partner, but enough to maybe get a more genuine response from them, maybe listen to them a little
Right.
bit more.
You're fine tuning your
Freshen it up. You freshen
a
it
better
up.
audience reaction.
And
right?
I think that this guy, it's obvious that this guy is a great actor.
He
and,
is.
And I think he has full command.
Mhm.
But I do think that this was super, 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 super well rehearsed.
Yeah.
Everything is on purpose, but he knows it so well that he can probably fudge it a little bit here and there.
Now,
Also,
the point I was making, his acting chops are better than his magic chops. I thought.
Well, it's like you said
Bullshit.
earlier. This
Absolute
no, he's a
bullshit.
great magician, but he conveys just through the way he gives his lines or talks.
Well, that's
pulls
why
you
I
into-
felt.
he pulls you into his own emotional space.
Yes,
And it was
tone he
devastating to
sets.
watch. And the
Yeah, I
magicians
felt-
don't do that.
Except
does that.
except
Huh?
for the order dealing,
Uh-huh.
he invented every trick in this show.
I believe it.
Like
Mm-hmm.
that's magicians, especially big stage magicians, don't invent their own tricks. When you get to a certain level, you hire other people to make tricks for you. He invented all of these tricks himself. That
It really is a one-man show.
No, it's not. Don't think.
No. He hired other people to help him do it, but
it came from his head.
There's a small army of people backstage helping this show out.
But he invented the tricks, and that's different. Like lots of people are good at doing tricks that somebody else made.
Right.
Him making the tricks and doing the tricks is very different in modern magic.
Oh, I believe it.
And the brick trick, the fucking brick trick.
I can't. Nobody can, right?
It's the
or the windows falling off the wall at the end. What the fuck?
There's some
that's a light thing, but yes.
Yeah, they go dark on the stage before that happens.
Yeah, they get dark enough they can do
also the brick thing. The brick thing has to be something with the table, right? I don't know.
No idea.
It very well also could be a sleight of hand thing. There might be a way for him to pull that brick out in some way.
It's a good trick, man.
It may not be an actual brick. It could be a piece of foam that has sound effects that make it sound like a brick.
Right. It could be many.
We don't know.
We don't know many things.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where I know a lot about how magic works, and every time I see that, and I've seen it 9 or 10 times at this point, it blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, that's a great trick.
It's every time, like I don't believe he's gonna do it, and then he does it. Like, and I knew from the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that brick's no, he's not gonna, and it's gone.
Yep.
Right.
And every
you know it's coming, but you
know it's coming because he's building the wall around it. You know it's coming, but it's still amazing.
Yeah.
Every single time. Like watch it 10 more times. Just watch that section.
I can watch this 100 times. I will not figure out how he does it. I won't. I resigned myself to the wonder of that trick. All right. Well, where are we now?
Good pick.
Great pick, dude.
I will recommend this. I will recommend this to people. I will recommend it.
I'm going to recommend this to like everyone.
I didn't hear, Jim, do you have anything to say about it?
I've been recommending this to everyone. God damn it.
I know. Jim, you've been real quiet in your corner.
I was going to say something, but you all talked over me.
Sorry. Go ahead. Take it.
Talk too much.
I forgot it now. So
okay.
So I saw this when Tad first.
Oh, that's right. You did watch it early.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see it again because I pretty much felt the same way about it. That I alternately felt really warm and I enjoyed it, and also I was just kind of pissed off with the guy because I don't kind of like his style of storytelling.
Interesting.
But I still think it was a good movie to watch. So, and I watched it twice.
It was just personally, he just rubbed you the wrong way or something.
Kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah, it's
Jim doesn't like Italians. We know this.
It's the same way that Penn Jillette rubs me the wrong way.
Jim doesn't like Italians. We know this.
I enjoy what he does, but
like magicians.
Bit of an asshole.
Jim only likes Germans. When are you guys going to understand that?
No,
I already do. That's why I picked Bader Meinhof.
He also likes Russians.
And Russians.
Right.